back to Cinema Bucket List, the show where we work our way through the 1001 movies you must see before you die, a growing list of 1,245 must-watch films for all cinephiles. As always, I am Mike, returning with 10 more films from the list. Roll out the red carpet, it's our 100th film covered in the series. When this film was released on Disney+, it was met with rave reviews. I was not one of those reviewers. While the animation is the height of what Pixar has to offer, the story, I felt, was lacking. I can certainly connect with the artist finally getting his shot after decades of being overlooked, but the dialogue is exposition heavy to the point of over-explaining things. Sure, it's technically a kids movie, but I would argue it is Pixar's most mature film to date, and it is therefore meant more for older audiences and should be handled as such. And that's where this film loses me. It doesn't know what it wants to be. Tina Fey's character is obviously the cute, annoying character meant to entertain children, but she is so out of place from the rest of the film. On top of that, Fey's vocal performance is dull and lifeless. While I enjoyed the film more the second and third time I watched it, it's still a mess of a film in my mind, and it's not one that you must see before you die. I'm going to replace this with 9 Days, directed by Edson Oda. Like Soul, it examines life in all of its glory and terror from the perspective of souls being interviewed to become alive. It has beautiful writing and performances and never tries to answer the questions it posits, instead opting to focus on the emotions of any given moment and allowing the audience to have the conversation about the subject matter. It's a wonderful film and has a killer soundtrack.
I heard this story about a fish. He swims up to this older fish and says, "I'm trying to find this thing they call the ocean." "The ocean?" says the older fish. "That's what you're in right now." "This?" says the young fish. "This is water. What I want is the ocean."
Creating a surreal yet familiar world in which corporations try to innovate ways to abuse the working class, director Boots Riley delivers this hilarious and cartoonish film for his feature debut. I love the way the film treats itself as a drama, keeping outright jokes to a minimum and finding humor in the moments of heightened reality that invites viewers to laugh at their own pain. Every actor delivers great performances, and the bright and colorful cinematography is a perfect juxtaposition for the dark and gritty subject matter. I don't know if he plans on making another film, but if he does, I will certainly be seeing Boots Riley's next efforts. This stays on the list.
You, my friend, you are the best decision I've made in quite a long time. I have to pat myself on the ass for that.
Thank you, Mr. Feels good to be appreciated.
Don't call me Mr. Cassius. Call me.
This movie was a lot more impressive until its sequel came out earlier this year. While I get the obsession with this movie, I don't think it's that great. It's okay, but the machismo personalities of the pilots is more annoying than funny or charming, and the repetitive music cues start to become laughable by the second time both Take My Breath Away and Danger Zone are played. The action sequences were probably more impressive in the 80s, but after Top Gun Maverick filmed its action sequences in the cockpits practically, these just seem cheap. I'd remove this and replace it with Top Gun Maverick, but I'm also confident that Top Gun Maverick will be added in the next 2 years. Instead, I'll replace this with Fury, directed by David Ayers. Tonally, the two films are completely different, but both deal with military members who operate heavy machinery as they move their way across Germany in World War II. It examines soldiers as they struggle with their own mortality while facing the horrors of war. It's a fantastic picture, but don't worry, I'm confident Maverick will be back.
Lieutenant Mitchell, Top Gun rules of engagement exist for your safety and for that of your team. They are not flexible, nor am I. Either obey them or you are history. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Starting off with a bang, this spy thriller establishes a sense of paranoia incredibly well within the first 10 minutes. With great performances from the star-studded cast, it's hard to trust any of their characters, making the mystery aspect of the film difficult to quite pin down. While I do admit the plot is occasionally hard to keep up with, and I did find my mind wandering from time to time, the tone of the film is phenomenal and the art direction throws your immersion right back to the 60s when the film takes place. Frankly, I didn't love this film, and I even looked at other spy thrillers to replace this with, but ones worthy of replacing it are already on the list, and those that aren't on the list just aren't quite as good as this. It is a solid film though, and the artistry alone makes it worthy, so I have no issue keeping this on the list.
Ty знаешь эту женщину?
No, I don't know her.
It's clear to me director Sam Peckinpah was the Quentin Tarantino of his time. Known for his use of unrelenting violence, which is tame by today's standards, Peckinpah didn't really shy away from showing the consequences of violence. And in this gritty 1974 action thriller, he explores that in more detail, following a bartender played by Warren Oates, who is given the job of delivering the head of a man to a couple of gangsters. We see Oates' character struggle with his morals as he reluctantly goes on this journey. While the man in question is already dead, he still struggles with the guilt and spiritual ramifications of desecrating a grave, all while fighting for his life against those who wish to take it from him. Warren Oates is incredible in this suspenseful film. That combined with a great story make it worthy of the list.
But I'm gonna keep him. I'm not giving him back. I didn't do it, but I would have. That's just the way it goes.
Released in 1934, this is quite possibly one of, if not the first murder mystery comedies ever made. Following a former detective who no longer wishes to work due to his wife's wealth, we follow Nick Charles, played by William Powell, as he investigates 3 connected murders that may involve a former client. Throughout the film, Nick and his wife have hilarious banter and interact with ridiculous characters, creating a witty atmosphere from beginning to end. And with an obligatory dinner party to reveal the identity of the killer, this is a film that will surely remind you of your favorite whodunits. It stays on the list.
Don't make a move, or that dog will tear you to shreds. All right, you can come out now. He won't hurt you.
I wasn't excited going into this movie. I couldn't care less about cars unless I was someone who didn't drive, and I care even less about racing. And the synopsis sounded like the 1970s version of the early Fast and Furious movies. But I ended up quite enjoying this. It's a tame film that examines obsession more than it does the racing, and it also focuses on the sad lengths men are willing to go to impress a woman. The lack of music adds to the absence of spectacle, opting to allow the audience to examine minute details in the characters, rather than flash a bunch of information in your face, not caring if you retain it all. Plus, it's got Beach Boys founding member Dennis Wilson, so there's that. It stays on the list.
It's really bumpy back here. What kind of car is this anyway? You guys aren't the Zodiac Killers or anything like that, are you?
Just passing through.
This film is a direct influence on 2 of Guillermo del Toro's films, The Devil's Backbone and Pan's Labyrinth. Displaying an outsider's view on a child's imagination, we follow 7-year-old Anna as she becomes fixated on the idea that the spirit of Frankenstein lives in a barn nearby. It is an important piece of Spanish cinema as it showcases the life of Spanish people after the Franco regime took control, using symbolism to express Spain's isolation from the rest of the world and the inhumanity of a fascist government. But telling all of this through the eyes of a girl infatuated with a monster from a film she saw adds an element of beauty and wonder I was not expecting. This stays on the list.
10.
Coming from Mali, this is the first African film to win a prize at the Cannes Film Festival. Set in the 13th century in the Mali Empire, this film is based on a legend told by Bambara people in which a man is tracking down his son in order to kill him because he had a vision that his son would cause his death. Utilizing magical powers given to them by the gods, both father and son journey through barren landscapes. This is an incredibly interesting film with cultures we seldom see and languages we rarely hear. It's an important piece of world cinema with an intriguing premise. And while it may not be my favorite film on this list, it certainly kept my attention. It stays on the list.
Bamananke, Ibeto Neka Faso, Musobe Dima, Neka Dendo.
Famanga siraka gelen kojugu. Ni segina, ni fon fenja, mbomine.
I was very lucky with how the viewing of this worked out. I usually watch the films 1 month in advance, and Jaws just so happened to be released in IMAX by the time I had to go watch it. For those of us too young to have seen this classic in theaters, I was surprised by how much you lose in the sound design in home viewings. Just another reason why going to the theater is the best viewing experience. Of course, everyone knows this is widely considered the first blockbuster, and Steven Spielberg absolutely changed the film landscape for better and for worse. By worse, I mean mainly in the unrealistic expectation of financial returns for most films. Regardless, this is an incredible film with remarkable performances, great cinematography, and horrifying effects. And of course, I can't fail to mention John Williams' iconic score. And Roy Scheider, Robert Shaw, and Richard Dreyfuss are electric when on screen together. There is no denying that this classic is one of the films every cinephile should see before they die.
You know the thing about a shark, he's got lifeless eyes, black eyes, like a doll's eyes. When he comes at you, he doesn't seem to be living until he bites you, and those black eyes roll over white.
And that does it for episode 10 of Cinema Bucket List. My favorite film from this episode was, of course, Jaws, with an honorable mention going to Bring Me the Head of Alfredo Garcia. Have you started working your way through the list? How many have you seen? What did you think of the films featured in this video, and what was your favorite? Comment down below to share your thoughts, and if you feel so inclined, feel free to like and subscribe. I will be taking the next 2 months off for the holiday season and to get myself ahead as far as watching movies for this series goes, but I will be back next year for Season 2 of Cinema Bucket List. As always, I am Mike, and I will be back in January with at least 10 more films for the 1001 movies you must see before you die. See you then.